Afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Webinar Wednesday. Thank you for taking your time to be with us today here. XenTegra is presenting. ServiceNow is with us today. We've got Bob and Julia. So real quick, I'm going to jump through my quick introduction, and then I'll hand it over because we all know that's what you're really here to see today. So with that, I will get us started. If the slides want to change. There we go. Okay. If you didn't know and you haven't heard, the Work Has No Boundaries campaign is back. So be sure to enter to possibly win a Ford Bronco. You'll see the QR code. You can just scan it there, go to the website. You can also get there from the XenTegra website. There's some little odds and end things that you'll have to do to meet entry for it, but all the details are there. I'm not a legal person, so I'm not going to get into it. Just scan it if you want a car and go for it. We're not allowed to get it. So good luck to you guys. All right. So if you're not familiar with XenTegra, we are a services reseller and solutions provider. We also provide managed services and hosting services as well. We are top tier with all of our partners. We focus within the digital workspace area. So we take you from that digital transformation into your future modern look and feel of your digital workspaces as far as it relates to EUC, your communications, collaboration, all of these types of utilities and tools that come into play, both for your users and for your department. So we work with all of these partners so that we're aware of what's out there to advise you for the best fit of a solution for you as you go through the road of making your environments better for your users. We were founded by Andy Whiteside. You'll see him up here on one of the corners. It's always backwards to me, so you guys could deal with it. It's the only picture on the slide, so I'm sure you'll get it. Andy started off at Citrix. He and I actually worked there together for a while. Andy and I have known each other for years. But Andy saw a deficiency within the industry and within our communities. There was a lack of enablement, and really that's where XenTegra comes from. We broke off from Citrix, from other companies out there, other consulting firms, because we saw that lack of enablement for you, for the community out there. You know, we need to make sure that we're enhancing your understanding, your grasp of these technologies and how it fits, so you can make better decisions in these solutions that you're providing in your environment. So again, key is enablement. It's about enablement for you and for your users. So again, we value-added reseller across the board on all of our partners. Professional services for our projects, we scope and we build those out for you. We do the managed services with our XenTegra Connect side of the house, where we can actually do hosting and monitor your environments, whether it's in public cloud or it's sitting in your own data center across multiple data centers. We're also partners with public clouds, solutions that we're offering out there from AWS and other providers like Azure and Google as well. So with that, my little cheesy standpoint of introduction, John Spallone. So if you don't know who I am, then you'll see here on the slide. I've been in the industry now for about 26 years. I've started everywhere from consulting on up. Recently, I worked with Citrix, where I worked with, oh, wait, what's that word? Enablement. Yes, that's right. Global enablement. I handled education and training for all technical resources within Citrix, as well as partners and with customers as it relates to EUC in the cloud and Citrix Cloud Solutions. So I kind of know a few things here and there, not a lot, but a few things. I know a lot of dad jokes. I'm not going to bore you with those. My kids, I got to save them for them. And then also I have a Zen-like possession of my geekiness and nerdiness. So it kind of rides between both of those. So that's enough about me, because like I said, I know you're not here for me. Bob and Julia, they're here from ServiceNow, and I thank you both for being with us today. One other thing real quick before we get kicked off, you'll see in the chat, please, if you have any questions, post them to the Q&A, so that way we can track them better for you. But with that, I'm going to hand it over to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John.
Sure thing.
So while we get these slides pulled up, My name is Julia DeBella, and I also have with me Bob. And together we're going to go through and really talk about how you can automate and optimize service operations so that you can increase productivity, resolve issues faster, and ultimately deliver the best service experience possible. And all of these things are becoming increasingly more important. Yet we also know that IT, service, and operation teams, they're often operating in a very siloed structure. And that structure doesn't scale to meet the evolving demands. And that siloed nature, it's really a product of technical debt and siloed tools, siloed data, which is all compounded by increasing demands at an accelerated rate. And so when we think about having these distributed teams and overworked IT teams, they're really faced with that need to solve incidents faster and prevent outages faster. But with all of these increasing demands and complexities increasing, our budgets, our resources, we all know that that doesn't change. And this is really where that impact of a divided IT team and IT tools comes into place, because it really prevents organizations from delivering those services and effectively operating. And so now more than ever, IT is really needed to be that foundation for business growth. But with those challenges, they're really hindered and prohibited from acting as that enabler of a digital first approach. And so, as we discussed, a lot of it comes down to these siloed tools and the disconnected technology, all of which can really be roadblocks to delivering those great and reliable services. And we've all seen that over the last little bit. There's this incredible increase in reliance on technology services in our post-pandemic world. So we have a highly remote workforce. Employees and customers, they all expect that services are going to be available 24/7. And so this has really led to an explosion of not only digital services, but also an explosion of incidents, whether that's people generated or machine generated. And so we're really at this critical inflection point where the volume and the complexity, it's becoming too much for humans to take on alone, even if we had unlimited resources, which of course nobody has. And so we have your IT service teams who they're not able to keep up with those increased number of requests from employees, from customers, and that's leading to that poor experience. And then on the other side, we've got the IT operations teams, and they are just in firefighting mode, reactive mode, and they're really plagued with that struggle of the impacts to productivity and to revenue. And so if we go to the next slide, we'll really start to see how this can all come together. And it comes down to the fact that achieving a digital first business really starts by bringing your technology services and operations together. And so by consolidating on a single cloud platform, it gives you that one data model so that you have that visibility across your teams, your tools, your technologies, ultimately so that we can improve the flow of work while still reducing costs. And some real world examples that really highlight the power of leveraging ServiceNow with that single platform, as opposed to building this out yourself. Just a couple examples that we've seen. Customers like Danske Bank, they actually saw a 6 times improvement in the time to restore services. TransAlta, they were able to reduce outages by 80%. And Novant Health saw a 50% reduction in their workload by leveraging tools like our virtual assistant for employee self-service. So tremendous benefits that can be gained. And in fact, we at ServiceNow, we are on a similar journey. And this is something that is top of mind for our internal IT teams as we're working to drive a digital first business. Now for us, we are expanding at hyperspeed. So our IT operations teams really need a better way of growing and keeping up with the demand for those IT services. However, like so many organizations out there, we really had to go from reactive to proactive. We needed to find a way to reduce the number of outages and incidents and ultimately deliver those digital services that keep pace with the productivity and the security that our users needed. And so what we did is we actually created what we call the 3-0 strategy. And what this means is a first, zero physical footprint. So this is really related to fully running in a cloud environment so that we can gain that flexibility, adaptability, and velocity that's needed to adapt and scale. Then the second component is around zero outages. And so with the goal of driving towards near 100% availability, we're doing this by using AI and machine learning to prevent and predict issues before customers or employees are even impacted. And then the third goal is to drive down incidents to zero. Now, we know that zero incidents reported by people, nearly impossible. Of course, there's always going to be an employee like myself who spills coffee on their computer or forgets their password. But with this relentless focus on delivering great employee experiences, we are able to push that number as close to zero as possible. And so what we'll do next is really take a look at how ServiceNow is helping enterprises like you solve that goal and how we're bringing together service and operations teams. And it really centers around 3 areas: modernizing, automating, and optimizing your operations. And so the first area around modernizing, it really comes down to consolidating on a single platform so that you have that foundation of shared data, integrated services, and visibility. And then the next element is around automating with artificial intelligence. So being able to predict and prevent incidents before they impact the business, as well as deflect issues that will never reach the service agent because we've empowered your employees with that self-service. And then that last phase is really around optimizing. So optimizing your people and your processes for that structured continual improvement. And so I want to just highlight a couple examples of really how ServiceNow has transformed this space before Bob dives into a demonstration. And the first is really around our unique and transformative approach with our predictive AI operations. And what's unique here is that we really work well with all of your existing monitoring tools, and we collect that data from the source. So whether it's events, logs, metrics, and then we can apply analytics to identify and help your team fix a problem before it impacts those users, so that we're also automatically learning what normal looks like in your environment to then predict those issues. And of course, when service and operation teams are consolidated using that same single platform, that same data model, there are a ton of efficiencies and benefits. Another example might be something like how closely integrated the IT service management change process and IT operations can be. So for example, you're able to see the service impact of a planned change before that change is approved, or you can identify recent changes that perhaps led to a slow service or led to a service outage. And then of course, that IT service data is so crucial when we think about your IT operations teams needing that crucial historical and in context information. So for example, you might be able to do things like surface similar past incidents when you have a service outage so that we can accelerate that service restoration, identify that root cause, and even see how it might have been remediated in the past. And those are just a few examples. Now, what we'll do is I'm going to pass it over to Bob to really show us this live in action.
Thanks, Julia. Hopefully everybody can still see my screen here. So we definitely want to make sure that we're showing you how this all works. I mean, what Julia just kind of mentioned there is definitely kind of, the why and the how we get there, right? And I think, it's important to know what you're going to see today is going to be, a collaboration between the ServiceNow platform within our IT service management plus what we call our ITOM Enterprise AI Ops Suite. which is really all of our IT operations management solutions and workflows all put together. So I think, to continue kind of on that storytelling path, you just need to understand that, with our rich history of helping customers streamline and deliver better, faster, and smarter business services, modern enterprises are really looking to take that to the next level. And that's where service operations comes into play. And to kind of better understand what service operations is and what we were really going for as we created this, I think it's, take a step back and look at a couple different stories. And then, I'll make sure that I get into the demo. But, if you look at how things, outside of work, sometimes how, we look at things in terms of streamlining and how things have changed over the course of time. One of the really great examples that we can give always is credit card fraud. If you think back even just about 20 years ago and how things have drastically improved in this space, and the process to be solved for it has changed. It used to be that you'd get a paper statement at the end of every month. And if you were really scrupulous about everything, you could match them up with paper receipts, do some reconciliation. You get to the bottom of your statement and all of a sudden you see, oh, wait, here's a charge that I had nothing to do with. Ritz-Carlton in Maui. No, I wasn't there. I was at my service desk making sure that it was running 24/7. But, now it's, what do you do next? All you can really do then is call the bank, wait on hold for 30 to 60 minutes. Then, talking to a support person kind of determine that, yes, that wasn't you. That was a fraudulent charge. So then you need to kind of go back and have that person manually remediate that change. And you may not get that money back into your account, let's say for another 30 to 60 days. Now, if you think about how that process has changed to today, it's, you maybe have that opportunity to go to the Ritz-Carlton in Maui, you swipe your card, immediately you get a text over your mobile phone that says, was this you? Are you, really at the Ritz-Carlton in Maui swiping this particular credit card? And literally the only response that it gives you is 1 for yes, 2 for no. And as you click 1, boom, it says, this is a good charge. We understand that you're there. And then the AI behind that not only knows that in this situation that you're there, but now your bank is actually alerted that you are in a different location so that moving forward, none of these charges will come back as fraudulent. So that's really kind of the, how we want to take that, almost personalized instance and how things are ease of use outside of work and bring it into work. But then also make sure that we are looking at the things that are most important to your organizations when it does come to, risk and remediation and things like that. So if you look at it from a customer perspective, we do have a customer that has, been working in these workflows for quite some time. But prior to doing this, they had these same types of issues. So this particular customer, global leader in food and beverage manufacturing, you guys have enjoyed all of their products, billions of people across 200 different countries. But one of the things that you might be surprised about is they do have one of the largest logistics supply chains in the world. So it's a very sophisticated supply chain, 1.5 million shipments per year. Now, they look at it as if, what happens if one of those supply chains avenues actually gets disrupted or stops? The flow of their business stops. It's revenue impacting. So, most recently, they told us about a situation where they did have an issue with a database log issue. And really what was happening was, they saw all the things in the background to say that, there could be an issue coming. What is it that we're going to be doing? Multiple alerts, red light screens, kind of, swivel chairing what happened prior to this. But we can show you and walk you through kind of a situation almost as to what their operations engineer would see today in the same different type of issue. So as you guys could see here, the mobile device now. So this is from the point of view of our operator. So our operator gets a push notification warning of a possible service slowdown that's coming from our predictive intelligence that's monitoring the overall health of the services. So this could be a text, this could be a Teams mobile, this could be a desktop notification. And remember, it's important to understand that this is just a potential problem. Nothing has actually even occurred yet. So with this, though, our operator says, okay, well, I got my Teams notification. I can click into it, but I'm actually going to go back to my desktop so that I can go see my service operations workspace. So our operator goes back, logs into her machine, checks out the workspace, and really gets a full level view of what's happening in terms of what's most critical of the services that she owns all in one place. So she can review the dashboard, look for any other threats, but knows that now she can transition to and from her service dashboard for any of these remediations. So on this services dashboard, as you can see, she could sift through very quickly and kind of sift through the typical noise that plagues her traditional operations teams and focus on what is affecting the business in the most immediate. So ServiceNow's predictive AI is actively monitoring all these critical services and applications and looking for the warning signs, like I said, before they even occur. So here she could see that, in fact, we do have something at a critical state. So we have these group of alerts that is above normal. So as we click into that, we can look in and see any insight and ability to quickly filter and focus on these alerts. And really dig in, start to dig in to this highest priority alert and see that the service is being effective. And one of them happens to be this order status service. So we need to look into how to best to fix this before it becomes a service affected outage. So we can actually, take a look, dig into more of the metrics and see really what's going on. So we can see that the issue has been identified. It has been surfaced. We have a large spike in the total volume of logs. So when the issue is serviced to her as a result of this anomaly alert that was raised, again, automatically via our log anomaly detection, the ability to proactively detect these anomalies provides this operations team an advanced notification, and they can get in front of the issue. So as we dig in and look into the playbooks that are already pre-populated by the system, these playbooks are going to give a contextual prescriptive guidance to the operations team on the correct procedures for working this specific issue and restoring the service. So we know, based on the data that we've collected already and the information given within the guidance, that expanding the disk space will likely solve this issue. So we'll go ahead and click on that. Execution in process. Everything was executed successfully. So as we click in, we can go back to our services dashboard, check on those services again, make sure that everything is back to green and looking good as they are. And voila, now we've got the text going out not only to us, but also any of the ServiceNow owners of this particular operation to let them know that service is restored and that this outage risk alert is no longer an issue. So we can click into this as well. And now Peter, who is our operator's boss, can take a look and say everything's in great shape. He can go in and take a look at the services status. Oh, sorry. And then he can also go back and just make sure any of the metrics and anything that was potentially affected during the outage is all A-okay. So with that, again, making sure that we have the opportunity to really come in and remediate any of these, whether they're major or minor alerts that are affecting any of your services. We were able to, avert this disaster and make sure that the bottling services stayed up for this customer. And then obviously too, just full understanding that, proactive alerting and remediation actions can be built into the system so that you can keep everything in your enterprise running smoothly and without any interruption.
So Bob, we do have a couple of questions that have come in.
Sure, I'll do my best.
Okay, sounds good. So ServiceNow is an enterprise platform. At what point in a small business growth would it make sense to implement your ITSM solution?
That's a great question. again, I mean, I think it can happen in a number of different phases within your organization's growth. I think it's as you look at incident, change, problem, request, if those are things that are affecting the way you deliver to your customers, I would say immediately. But if those are things that you can kind of remediate manually as you're growing early on, that's fine too. But I do think that investment around automation for, again, like one of the things I actually heard from one of our leaders last week is that we don't develop our platform with our customers in mind. It's your customers that we have in mind. So I think, again, if those customers are being affected by anything that you are doing manually and you're looking to automate that, now is the time.
Okay. We have another question here. These metrics are the metrics that were ingested from ServiceNow agent on the servers, or are they ingested from another monitoring platform?
Whatever you like. We have an agent that we can provide. We have monitoring solutions that we can provide. But I think one of the beauty parts about our platform is the integrations. We want to make sure that if you have monitoring tools that you like, if you have any other any other tools that you like in terms of a learning, bring them in, because I think too, the power of the platform is going to be around that data, and what we call kind of that, that single source of truth that lies within our CMDB can really be populated by, really any means necessary. And if we don't have an out of the box integration with it, usually a simple API call can get it done.
Okay. All right. With that, is there any other questions from anybody? Two good questions there. Appreciate those.
Yeah, thank you.
Not many people jump in and give their questions, but yeah. So Julia, Bob, we're good to go on what you had to present today, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you so much for the time. This was great.
Sure. So I'm going to go into a couple of my housekeeping items here real quick, everybody, and then we'll go ahead and give you some freedom for the day as soon as the clicking start working again. All right. So what I want to point out is the calendar coming up for October, November. For the webinars, we have N Computing coming up, 10/12, Haiku, 10/19, Logic Monitor, just so you're aware, that is asterisk, that starts at 3 p.m. on 10/26, and then November, Deep Instinct, 11/2, Know Before, 11/9 at 1 p.m., Liquidware, again, asterisk, 1:30 on 11/15, and Cameo. I don't even think I'm doing that one, so I'm not going to murder it. I'm not going to worry about it. 11:30. Also going over to our workshops and boot camps coming up for October and November. What we have is the app layering with Liquidware Flex Apps. That's on 10/18. Then we have Nutanix 101 workshop, which will be 10/21, and Nutanix Files workshop on 11/18. You'll see the dates there. Also, if you go to our events landing page, you'll see all of those there that you can filter and see what's coming up. Now, also, just to let you know, reminder one more time, just because everybody wants a brand new car, the Bronco giveaway, one more time with the QR code there. Again, you can also get there from our webpage, XenTegra.com, and you can see the links right there at the top of the page to be able to go. Work has no boundaries, to be able to enter in for that. And then you'll see all the items that you've got to follow for your participation in the drawing for the new vehicle. I know we just closed it out for last year, did the giveaway at our 10-year anniversary. So this will go on for about a year, and then we'll do the giveaway again. So doesn't hurt. Go ahead and take a look. If you want to get some more info on ServiceNow, we can set up a follow-up call with that. That'll mark as part of your participation for entry. So, give it a try. So with that, I want to thank both Bob and Julia for being here today with ServiceNow. Give it one more time for any questions from anybody. I'm not seeing anything. So this was a quick one, but a very informative one. And again, I want to thank you for being here for Webinar Wednesday, brought to you by XenTegra, and with our spotlight on ServiceNow today. And everybody have a great Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and thank you all.